Hey, what's going on, people? My name is Lbtharealist, and this is Surrealistic Studios. Once again, what is the surreal deal? Well, recently, President Donald Trump just pulled out of the Paris Climate Agreement, and some people basically are in agreement with him, saying that it would cost Americans billions of dollars. It won't really do anything. It's part of a globalist agenda. And then those on the opposing argument are saying that, look, this is a horrible thing. It shows that America is not willing to cooperate with the rest of the nations. It's just going to speed up climate change, or this, that, and the other, right? Well, to be honest, I'm a little bit mixed up myself because I haven't read the Paris Agreement. Just keeping it realist. I didn't read it. It's probably long, not saying that I won't read it in the future. I'm just saying at this present time, I have not read it myself. So I don't claim to know everything that's in the agreement. I don't know anything about a globalist agenda other than all the nations in the globe are coming together to combat, or at least try to combat, climate change. And from what I understand, it's not really combating climate change. It's rather just cutting down emissions as much as we can. And it's like each nation is pledging to cut down their emissions, and also the developed countries are pledging to help undeveloped countries. Because let's be clear, the US, Europe, and Asia are producing the most greenhouse gases. We're doing the most damage. And some people don't even believe in climate change, or they don't believe in global warming, and it's separate from climate change. There's a whole bunch of shit into this, right? Well, like I said, I don't claim to know everything about it, but from what I understand, it would seem to be better to be a part of it than to not be a part of it. If you want to save the taxpayers' money, why don't we get out of all these conflicts and wars that we're in? That'll save the taxpayers billions of dollars. Why don't we, stop funding the rich and taking from the poor? Why don't we stop giving the rich people tax cuts? That'll save the taxpayers billions of dollars. Why don't we stop funding the Saudis? Hey, there's a crazy idea. That'll save the taxpayers billions of dollars. Just throwing that out there, but I digress. So I was reading an article from Quartz Africa, and they had some interesting things to say in regards to Trump pulling out of the Paris Accords and how that would affect other countries, Africa, other continents or countries, Africa in particular. Now they say here, I'm just going to read this off to you because it's just interesting to me, and interesting in a negative way, not so much a good way, because it breaks my heart to know, Africa's already going through some shit. But it says, look, Africa doesn't contribute to much of the world's greenhouse gases, but it will be hit the hardest by global warming. 7 out of 10 of the world's countries most threatened by climate change are in Africa. Temperatures are expected to increase 2 degrees Celsius by the last 2 decades of this century. Over half of the continent will be at risk of undernourishment. Over half of the continent will be at risk of undernourishment. That includes the animals too. So if you don't give a shit about Africans, you might want to give a shit about endangered species. These animals that are dying off, because as people die off, the animals are going to die off too. So, like I said, Africa's already under some duress right now. People are already starving. Some 20 million people in South Sudan, Somalia, and Nigeria. So people are already struggling, and with climate change accelerating at the rate that it is, with the ice shelves melting in Antarctica at the rate that they're going, it's looking very grim for Mother Africa. We all know that an increase in temperature equals an increase in strife and in conflict. The Paris Accords were signed by 195 countries, including all 55 African countries. And from what I can tell, from what I read, it says the developed countries will contribute $100 billion annually for developing countries by 2020. And it had a chart here for greenhouse gas emissions. Africa only produces about 3.8% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. The next one up would be the European Union at 13%, and then us in the US at 19%. And then the only other one other than that is China, leading the way at 23%. And a lot of the greenhouse gases that they are producing out there is directly because of us in the US. So, that's why to me it seems smart to make it a global effort. I don't know anything about globalist or globalism or any kind of globalist agenda. All I know is I feel for other people around the world. I know we do have to take care of America first. I do understand that sometimes, most times or all the time, you got to take care of home first so that you can take care of other people outside of the home. If you can't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of nobody else. So I do agree that we have to work on ourselves to make the world better. But that's where I go. Some people just say focus on yourself, and in the world they focus on them, we focus on us. But I say focus on ourselves so that we can in turn focus on the world. Because if we're good, then the world is good. The world is directly affected by shit that goes on in the US. So this is interesting to read and sad to read at the same time. Interestingly sad. Climate change is gonna mean rising sea levels, increased temperatures, floods, severe droughts, hurricanes, tornadoes, destroyed crops and harvests, just done. Livestock, animals, done. Dried up. We're talking scorched lands. We're talking scorching temperatures that you wouldn't even be able to comprehend. I know I've lived in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's hot as fuck out there. I've lived in Bakersfield, California. It's hot as fuck out there. Dude, I ain't never been to Africa before, but I can only imagine what kind of temperatures these people deal with already. Man. So, Jesus. One thing that kind of pissed me off about what Trump, about when he pulled out the Accords, about something he said. He said the Paris Accords would weaken U.S. sovereignty, and it doesn't do much for the environment. Now, I agree with about maybe half with what he said, and that was the bottom half, the last half. I don't agree with the first half. Paris Accords will weaken U.S. sovereignty. So this is all about power for him. You don't want to give out money to developing countries that need it. You don't want to pay your fair share for dishing out our total of the greenhouse emissions. We don't want to even be a part of the conversation or a part of the effort, and he's saying that it would weaken U.S. sovereignty, as if we would somehow be a weaker country for being a part of this Paris Accord. And I don't know. That just sounds like it's not right to me. It just sounds like it's not right to me. I don't know. I don't know how that would weaken U.S. sovereignty. If anything, we should be leading that charge. And I don't see any other plan in place to replace this. So, me just from a person that hasn't read the agreement, I haven't read the agreement. Fair enough. If you have, I give you credit, and I listen to you. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Has anyone read the Paris Accords? What is exactly in it? Are we Is it that bad? I mean, is it a globalist agenda? What is a globalist agenda? I know Julian Assange came out on a tweet and said that it's actually better that we pulled out, because now China will lead the charge. Somebody please explain that to me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you like, share, subscribe if you haven't before. Subscribe so I can keep bringing you stories that matter. And subscribe so that you can continue to enlighten me. Because as much as I bring information to the world in turn brings information back to me. And I'm able to enlighten myself and grow smarter because of it. So if you disagree, tell me why you disagree. And let me know your thoughts on the matter. If you don't, let me know why pulling out was a bad idea. I'd love to hear everyone's opinions on this. I know the last video, most people were basically on the side of pulling out. So let me know what you guys think again. Until next time, love, peace, and chicken grease, my peeps.